Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from jennycarddesigns. Thanks so much for joining me today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting tutorials and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. In today's video, I have a requested project to create a box for my gigantic, huge cards and envelopes. So I've shared recently a few video tutorials on how to create these beautiful extra large envelopes that hold these note cards, which are 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So nice and big. And I've created this little simple box to be able to put all of these cards inside, and they fit nice and snug. And we can create a beautiful gift box for some of these gigantic cards. Alright, so let's get into the tutorial for today. It's super quick and simple. It is probably the simplest box you will ever make. So first up, we're going to start with a couple of pieces of heavyweight cardstock. So I'm using some Simon Says stamp cardstock. I chose a craft cardstock and a chocolate colored cardstock. And I'm going to use the dark color cardstock for the bottom of my box and the lighter color for the top of my box. So we'll start by cutting the cardstock down to the size that we're going to need. I'm going to pull in my trimmer and I'm going to pop my cardstock in across the 8.5 inch side. I'm going to trim off 1/16 of an inch less than half an inch. So I'm actually cutting this down to 8 1/16 of an inch. I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but it's actually the first little notch past 8 on your trimmer, or just a little tiny bit less than 1/4 inch. And then we're going to take the top piece of the box and we're going to cut that just a little bit bigger. This is going to be 8 1/8 of an inch. So you'll notice there's just a sliver of a difference between the two. This is so that the top of the box is just a little bit larger to be able to fit snugly over top of the bottom of the box. We don't want it too tight, but we also don't want it so loose that it's going to fall off. Okay, so now I'm going to pop my cardstock into my scoreboard, and this is the easiest part of this. The hardest part was those 1/16 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. The rest is super simple. All you're going to do for both pieces of cardstock is score at 1 inch. Okay, you're going to score at 1 inch, rotate, score at 1 inch, rotate, score at 1 inch, until you have 1 inch scores all the way around on both pieces of cardstock. Super simple. This is the absolute easiest part of this box. And then it just comes together so simply after this. Okay, so once those scores are all done, we're going to make a few cuts into this cardstock. Now, I like to make some angled cuts into my box because I like for the boxes to fold together nice and flush. So when I make my cuts along that bottom flap, I want the center to be straight. I want those edges to be straight 90-degree angles. This is how the box is going to get squared off. And then I'm going to come back to those corner flaps and trim off just a slight little angle. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to show you why we do this. So this part of the box needs to create a 90-degree angle to create a nice square box. So we want this nice and straight. And then the angle just helps us to be able to fold it nicely without it sort of being bulky and sticking into the lid of the box where it makes those little side flaps stick out. So it just helps everything come together nice and neat and tidy and makes us nice square edges for our box. Okay, now I'm going to do this for both pieces, top and bottom, the exact same way. I'm going to come in and cut straight lines right up that score mark, and then on those little tiny flaps on the side, I'll come in and create a slight angle. So then our pieces look like this on both the top and the bottom on both sides of the cardstock. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and crease all of the folds. So I'm going to start working with the bottom of the box. The steps are the same for the top and the bottom. So I'm going to crease all of my folds, and then I'm going to apply adhesive only to those little tiny tabs. These little tiny tabs or corner flaps are going to get tucked in inside of the box where you're not going to see them. So I just want to apply my adhesive to those tabs I ran out of adhesive here, and I just wanted to show you how quick and easy it is to flip out this tape runner. Super simple. It's my favorite tape runner. I talk about it all the time. If you use a lot of tape in your crafting, you need this tape runner. You'll find it in the description box down below. So I'm going to adhere all of my corners together, making sure that they're nice and straight and they are folded with no stress and no sort of weird wonky angles. And I just want to really take my time to make sure that everything is nice and straight. And then I'll grab my bone folder and I'll press those little flaps in to make sure they're adhered to the cardstock nice and good so it doesn't fall apart on us. And then that's going to be it for the bottom of the box. Simple. If you find any of your edges aren't quite straight, you can always come back in and just trim off any excess or overhang just to make it, nice and straight and clean. I had a few little pieces that were off, and I trimmed those up, and then we're perfect. Okay, so I'll set this aside, and then I'm going to work on the top of the box, and all of the steps are the exact same. We're going to come in, we're going to crease all of our folds, use a bone folder to press those down, apply adhesive to the tabs, fold the tabs in to create squared off angles, and then our box is complete. Super simple. It is the easiest box you'll ever make, and the envelopes and the cards fit inside of this box absolutely perfectly. And I've only got 4 envelopes and 4 cards in here, and I just want to let you know that you can fit more. I think you could probably fit up to 10, 12, depends on how thick you embellish your cards. Okay, so that's it. This box is complete. Really cute and simple and a gorgeous project. But wait, there's more. I had another idea. I thought, how could we elevate this one more level? This is just a basic box, right? Okay, well, let's turn it into something super awesome. I'm going to take my lid and I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm just going to take a piece of pattern paper. You could use a die or anything to trace to create a shape. I want to create a window in the front of this box. So I just traced a piece of cardstock. I grabbed a craft mat and a craft knife, and I went ahead and I cut out this little window in the front of my box. I just took my time, made sure that I made clean, concise, straight cuts. Now, if you wanted to do this ahead of time and you have a die cutting machine, you could run this piece of paper through your die cutting machine and cut out, a shape in the front, and you'd have a beautiful window. So I'm just applying some of my dot runner adhesive to the back side of that window, and I've got a clear piece of acetate, and I just cut that to fit on my window, and I'm going to cover that up, press it into place, and voila! We have a beautiful display of those gorgeous envelopes. And I chose an envelope that matched nicely with my box. I thought it was kind of perfect. And you have a visual of what's inside this box. Super cute, professional looking, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. Here's a close-up look at our finished card box project. I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial. This was specifically created for Abigail. She requested this size of box for her beautiful extra large handmade envelopes and cards that she was so excited to make based off of my previous video sharing those beautiful envelopes. So Abby, I hope this suits your needs. And thanks again for watching, everyone. Have yourself a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!